Uh, yeah, guys, we combine gene therapies for synergetic longevity gains, and we all here are mission driven, right? We want to solve aging, and I have a question to you. Let's try to dream together. If we solved aging, how it would like the solution? What would it be? Combo of like multivitamins, like cold plunge. What is it? Like it's definitely not going to be one drug. The advanced solution will combine dozens of therapies, like because aging is complex. To tackle it, we have to address hundreds of biological processes in our bodies simultaneously. And we have few problems that have been mentioned already from this stage, that it's too expensive to get just one drug to market that tackles just one process in our body. And it takes like, in average, 10 to 15 years. So to build really like 100 therapies, we need like to dedicate entire US economy to work on it. And it's actually one of plans, on what Vitalism works on. Yeah, and another issue with that we still can work with prevention, but this prevention just limited by lifestyle intervention and sometimes like repurposed drugs. But really the most efficient solution probably will be the drugs that we give it to a healthy person to keep them young instead of like waiting for them to get old and like try to cure diseases. That's why, and we're not allowed to build preventive gene therapies here in the US. So, and yeah, that's why we built Unlimited Biome, where we ask, what if we could launch a drug to market just with $1 million instead of $1 billion, or repurpose existed drug to market for just few $100,000 instead of in average $300 million. What if we could do it in 1 year instead of average 10 years? And we have done it with our first gene therapy that we got to market just in less than a year with $200,000 of initial funding. Thank you, guys. Yeah, at the same time we have to make sure that we maintain like the high level of safety. How can we do that? We can do it with special economic zones such as Prospera that's been mentioned before. And we still, like as Lawrence mentioned, that we still have to ensure, like, take care about safety even more than within the US, because this is like a new thing for us and we want to care about it. So we have to do all the same preclinical studies, but we can do it just without bureaucracy and delay and save a lot of money on that. And we can run the same clinical studies, but we can do it already self-funded and make it with it shorter iteration cycle for the new therapies. And let me tell you briefly about our first gene therapy. It's VEGF that we launched it, like we literally incorporated in April last year, so we just launched it in less than a year. And VEGF, it's a gene, vascular endothelial growth factor, a gene responsible for formation of new blood vessels in our body. And these tiny microcapillaries are so essential for us to bring all oxygen and nutrition to our cells and tissues. And it's kind of upgrade our delivery system. And currently we inject it intramuscular and topical. And what's interesting, it's a repurposed gene therapy. It initially was approved in Russia back in 2011 for a disease, lower limb ischemia. And since then, more than 10,000 people has taken it. So it's really long-term safety profile. So we went to this company, licensed it from them, and repurposed it for preventive indications that we can do only in special economic zones. And it's just the first, and very important, we do it in Honduras, as mentioned before, and we partnered with a local clinic to make it faster, who had already infrastructure there. It's led by ex-head physician of EX Olympic team, Glyn Terry, highly experienced in, and have been doing he have been involved in rejuvenating medicine for a while, and we aim to bring 5 more gene therapies this year to market. For that, we partnered with BioViva and licensed it 4 gene therapies from them. They have been doing like biohacking gene therapies for a while. And from here, I will give it to Anna.
Yeah, thank you.
So
yeah, I'll share a little bit more about scientific part. But I want to say that I'm really excited to be here with people who share this passion for pushing the boundaries of human health. And yeah, as we age, we know that we have different declines in our organs and systems. And the question, what we can do with this so to slow down or even reverse the aging? And that is what we are working on in Unlimited Bio. And we are not betting at one drug or approach, as Ivan said previously, and because aging is so complex and we need to tackle many processes, and in every organ this process would be different. So that's why we started to develop 4 gene therapy combinatorial approach. And actually this gene therapy already have been tested not only in mice but in humans, so they like most close to the human application than any other gene therapies. And they are VEGF, follistatin, Clotho, and BDNF. And I will take a look at each of them briefly. So VEGF, as Ivan said, vascular endothelial growth factor that is essential for building new capillaries, improving nutrient and oxygen delivery in our organs. And with age, we have loss of this capillary. So starting with age of 30, we already have the loss of these capillaries, this capillary density. And here you can see the difference in capillary density between young individual and older individual. So we already have a big difference. And actually vascular aging is a key driver of overall aging, and VEGF signaling plays a central role in this process. So maybe you can ask, can I improve my VEGF signaling just by exercising? Yes, exercise can improve your VEGF expression, but the reason that elderly patients that have 50% lower response from exercise in comparison with younger individuals. So for in studies we see that elderly, they have less capillary density per muscle fiber. And actually it's causes these visual cycles because limited capillarization leads to poor performance, and poor performance leads to inability to build these new blood vessels. And why it's happening? Actually, one of the main hypotheses is that elderly patients, elderly people, they have already elevated levels of special VEGF traps that bind this protein and prevent it from the signaling to the cells. But we can overcome this obstacle by overexpression of this protein in our cells and using gene therapies. So here is a very famous article that study that was done in mice, and they have shown that VEGF overexpression can prevent sarcopenia, it can prevent accumulation of abdominal fat, improve metabolic health, and also extended mice lifespan more than 30%. Also, another interesting fact is that VEGF group of mice, they had less spontaneous tumors in comparison with their control group of mice. So VEGF itself doesn't cause any oncology, it's very common stereotype about this. The second therapy that I want to talk about is follistatin, and Mark already gave some talk about this. So we are looking and we are focusing on follistatin in the form of AV because we think it would be more reliable results. And in studies we see that it really improves muscle growth and strength measurements. What is important regarding the safety, that follistatin didn't cause any hypertrophy of the heart, any abnormalities in organs, in liver, kidney, etc. And female monkeys from like these studies, they had normal reproductive function. But besides muscle growth, follistatin also improves insulin sensitivity. So in these studies, they have shown that it improved glucose uptake, and it also normalized insulin resistance in obese mice. Follistatin also improved vessels, so it reduced systolic and diastolic blood pressure by approximately 20 millimeters of mercury, and we know that even 5 points reduction of systolic blood pressure correlates with 10% decrease of cardiovascular events. So it's a very good result. And also it was improved their vessels by itself, reduced fibrosis and collagen deposition. Also, follistatin improved and extended the lifespan of mice by more than 30%. And actually, these mice also had better coats, they had less hair loss, and also like overall health. But we also have these trials in humans. So follistatin was used in the form of AAV for humans with muscular dystrophy. And here in the photo we can see like visible results of muscle growth in these patients. But we need to keep in mind that these patients with their like very severe inherited disease, it's very difficult for them to build and to grow the muscles. But with this gene therapy, they had some improvements, and also it decreased the fibrosis in these patients. The third therapy that I want to talk about is Cloto, also well-known longevity factor, and it's really cool because it inhibits 4 major age-related pathways: TGF-beta, IGF-1, VNT, and FK-beta. So Cloto ensures and prevents cellular senescence, inflammation, fibrosis, and neoplasia. And we have a good correlation with age. So it's like unfortunately that with age we have decrease in Cloto levels. So you can see here the difference of Cloto levels in persons when they are 20 years old and 80 years old. Also, Cloto regulates phosphate metabolism, and it's really cool to prevent arterial calcification. And here is also meta-analysis of like approximately 30,000 humans that they have shown there is a correlation between low Cloto levels and increased risks of arterial calcification and stiffness. Another point that like many biohackers are interested in with Cloto, because it was shown to improve cognitive skills. And here is a study with monkeys, H-monkeys. They've used Cloto in the form of protein, and just one administration of this protein led to significant improvement in cognitive skills. What's more interesting is that low dosages of Cloto worked better than high dosages. As I understand, this company is also going to the clinical trial soon, so it would be interesting to see the results in humans. But another approach is to use AAV with Cloto, and also here we have this study with intranasally administered Cloto in the form of AAV. And here a small study, they've administered it to patients with moderate or mild dementia, and they have shown like real improvement also in cognitive skills. So the sharp increase was during first 3 months, and they have stabilized these improvements for more than a year of observation. And what's need to talk about that these patients didn't have any side effects, so it was pretty safe in these patients. And we understand that we also there are other people with dementia, and even stabilization of these cognitive skills like is a really good indicator of the therapy. And the last but not least, it's BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor, also well-known factor that is responsible for learning, memory, consolidation, and etc. and we have data that people who have high levels of BDNF, they have 50% lower cognitive decline in comparison with people who have low levels of BDNF, like genetically. There are a lot of studies regarding BDNF safety and efficiency in mice. I actually haven't seen any results on life expectancy, and I think that maybe we would be the first that will test this BDNF regarding the life expectancy and cognitive improvements also. But there is a study, human study, in humans with Alzheimer's. So they've administered AV BDNF into the humans, and they also showed that it was pretty safety. There were no side effects, and they use like very invasive administration, like directly to their brain. We are not going for this approach, but these patients with Alzheimer's disease, so yeah, and they've seen some improvements in metabolic activity in the brain. So what if we combine all these 4 gene therapies, VEGF, follistatin, CLOTZA, and BDNF, and we will use them not for patients with disease, but for the prevention? Because when you have a disease, it's like a really complex processes and very complicated, very difficult to restore and repair, do something with it. So we are currently running my study with a combination of these 4 gene therapies, and each of them separately, in order to understand safety and efficiency on muscle cognitive functions. And at the end of this year, we are already planning to launch human trial to test this combination, and we are going to do this double-blind randomized crossover study where we have 2 groups. Of the first group will take gene therapies, the other one will take placebo, and on the day 30 they will switch. So participants would know in which group they were. And we assess safety and some efficiency markers. So if you are more than 50 years old and want to participate in this, contact us.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so if we can launch 5 therapies per year, and keep accelerating, there's high chance that we can really collect, let's say, 100 therapies under one umbrella by 2034, and this is about the dream. So it's just an example of the vision how it could like the really advanced try to do something about aging in the future. It's what we are building. And yeah, here's our team. We are highly experienced in building biotech, longevity science, and clinical practice. And of course, we don't want to solve aging by ourselves. I think it must be collective. So if you have a therapy, or you know someone who has a therapy that could be synergetically combined with what we build, please talk to us if you're an investor interested in that. The same, if you would like to try gene therapy, here's a QR code with list of currently available therapies and the ones that will be available in the future. And you can just sign up for the future updates of our therapies. And yeah, the last thing that I would like to say, that there are just 2 types of people, observers and engineers. And observer, good example of an observer is Yuval Noah Harari, one of my favorite authors, by the way. He writes a history. He writes the history of the past, the history of the future, and he predicts things. And he predicted that we won't do anything about aging during our lifetime. And there's all these billionaires who go to the field, they're just wasting their time because they won't change anything. And there are another type of people, engineers, who predict the future and disagree with that future and try to engineer different future. After predicted again, if they again disagree with this future, they keep re-engineering that future until that moment when we're happy about that future. And this is just one example how we can little bit re-engineer the future. And we have to keep re-engineering it all together. We are in the center of, we're probably in the most technologically advanced area in the world. In the middle of AI and biotech revolution. And we're surrounded with so mission-aligned people, the smartest people, the most advanced people in the field. So I encourage all you to take maximum from today, each hour here, each minute here, and let's engineer the future together.
We have some time for some questions. Can you go back to the bio page for your first?
This?
Thanks, Ivan and Anna. Great presentation. Very inspiring. I come here from a large pharmaceutical biotech background, and couple years ago, a lot of big companies in the space really ended their gene therapy clinical trials. It was so expensive, regulatory obstacles. It's really exciting to see that you guys have essentially figured out a solution. I am curious. I think something you've talked about in more detail, perhaps you can share here, is how did you get it to be so inexpensive, right? I think especially like combination therapies.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, I will answer this, but first I would like to start that I think in the future, gene therapies can be very cheap in scale. They can be affordable by anyone. Like we have now with the COVID vaccines, that's really low cost. And it's quite a similar technology normally. So George Church said that in the future he's saying that gene therapy will be available $1 per therapy. Yeah, how we can do it again? So there are 3 components that I mentioned. Oh no, it's a long way, sorry. So we operate in special economic zones. There's much less bureaucracy, and so we can do we save a lot of time and money that each month of biotech costs you a lot, all the salaries and operations and all this stuff. So we do all the same preclinical study, but just without all this bureaucracy. The Prospera government is very responsive. You just write emails, they answer you the same hour, the same day. It's very fast and very communicative. And a preclinical study, we can run self-funded clinical trials, the ones that Anna mentioned. So normally, biotech, they just they have to pass all the 3 stages of clinical trials, and only after that they start generating revenue. And this is the biggest cost, cost of the all biotechs. And the thing is that many biohackers, many people, they already innovate in garages and they do things, but why we just don't crowdfund this clinical trial altogether and do it with all the standards, and so we can do self-funded clinical trial and we cut a lot of cost on it. It's the main thing. We are currently preparing a paper where we want literally compare. I'm trying to get, if someone is working with R&D cost within classical regulators, I'm just come to us. We want to write a scientific paper. We really compare the numbers. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anna and Ivan. Give a huge round of applause.